It's recently come to my attention that a small faction of unhappy fans mockingly refer to this program as Dummy's Corner. The charge against me? Extreme bias favoring American fighters. Well, I'm nothing if not flexible. To quote the great Mayor Quimby, if that's the way the wind is blowing, let it not be said that I do not also blow. This is Dummy's Corner?
Dummy's Corner.
I gotta admit, it's probably a more fitting name. Heavyweight Championship Boxing returned to Showtime last weekend when WBC Heavyweight Champion, American Deontay Wilder, made the first defense of his crown against the lightly regarded Eric Molina. Now, going into this one, most people viewed this as a soft touch for Wilder, and most people viewed Molina as an undeserving title challenger. And this proved to be true, but what made this fight interesting was Eric Molina came to fight. He didn't come in here just looking for a payday. He came in trying to win, and he came in believing he could win, and you could see that in the way in his performance and the way he fought. And it was a very game effort from Molina, who, although he didn't have many moments of success, he seemed to have the right idea on how to hang in there with Wilder, bide his time, and look for openings where he was looking for a knockout blow. And he proved a couple of times that he shook Wilder. For Deontay, he still obviously has things to work on, and a lot of the criticisms of him from fans have merit. But he exhibited good athleticism and, once again, tremendous power, and tremendous power in both hands. It was the end of the fourth round, I think, when Deontay landed a big left hook. I think it was the first significant left hook he'd landed in the fight, which dropped Molina right at the end of the round. And then he had a couple of knockdowns in the next round, and after Molina rebounded a little bit here and there, Wilder finished matters in the ninth round with a vicious right hand. And in the post-fight interview, Deontay, well, here's what he had to say.
Are you still a work in progress and still learning?
I'm definitely still a work in progress and learning. I always tell myself, once I stop learning, I don't want to be in the sport no more. I have fun when I'm learning. When I'm a know-it-all, it's nothing else to learn. You know, that's no fun. I like to learn. I'm still a work in progress. I think I'm gonna still be a work in progress until I collect all the belts. I'm still gonna be a work in progress until I retire.
So Wilder has no problems admitting that he's a work in progress, and I think that's obvious to a lot of people. Now, for those viewing Deontay Wilder as the possible future of American heavyweights, is he the guy American fans have been waiting for? And the short answer to that question is no, I don't think he is. But he's a little bit better than I used to give him credit for. I originally viewed Wilder as a fighter who was just waiting to be exposed. I didn't think much of his skills. I didn't think much of his technique. I thought a hell of a lot of his power, but I thought he was basically a power puncher with a shaky chin and questionable technique. And he's proved me wrong on that. Wilder, despite what his biggest critics might say, he's got a couple of good victories on the ledger. I know a lot of people will dismiss his victory against Lihovic out of hand, but that was an impressive win and, more than anything, an amazing display of power. And then where Wilder really changed my opinion about him was I was convinced that sooner or later Bermane Stiverne was going to catch him with something big, and I didn't think Deontay would be able to survive that. But instead, what I saw, much to my surprise, was a Wilder who was disciplined, who was using a good jab, fighting intelligently. His technique seemed improved to match his very good athleticism, and then there's always that power factor with Deontay. And I thought he made a fine account of himself against Stiverne. The problem now becomes for Deontay Wilder, and I'm not going to be too critical of his team in the sense that He's undefeated, and they've guided him to this undefeated record as a very rare commodity in this day and age, as an American heavyweight champion. And they got him there. But I think the problem for Wilder now is, with the lack of appropriate preparation, the type of fights that help build him and bring him to the next level and gain experience points, he didn't have those type of fights. Molina this past weekend represented one of those type of fights that he really needed to have before he was in the driver's seat as an American heavyweight champion. So even though Wilder's team guided him to the title, in a sense, I think they did him a great disservice, because now as the champion, I don't think he has the experience he needs to be fully prepared for these big fights on the horizon, or potentially on the horizon. What do we have for Deontay's future? A lot of fans still think he's no good. They think that guys like Povetkin and Fury and Joshua and a slew of others will all beat Wilder. And I'm not so sure that's true. Particularly in the case of Povetkin, who I myself have never been that big on. Perhaps I just have trouble getting the image of him getting battered around by Marco Huck out of my head. But I've never been as big on Povetkin as a lot of people are. And while I think he's more experienced, and while I think he has a better background, and where I think he's probably the more skilled fighter, I wouldn't write Wilder off against Povetkin. Say what you will about Wilder, but he does seem to be slowly improving. He has a decent jab. He showed a good left hook, although he used it very sparingly against Molina. And he's got that right hand, and he has the power. There's plenty of holes in his game that need fixing, but I wouldn't be quick to write him off against anybody, because with that type of power, he could end any fight in one punch. And even against Vladimir Klitschko, whom I'd give him almost no chance against at this time, he'd certainly have a chance, because he's got that power. And Vlad himself, I think, has started to show his age a little bit the last year or two. But be that as it may, Deontay Wilder is a rare commodity these days. An American heavyweight champion. I don't think he's the champion American fans have long been waiting for, but he could be. And it will be interesting to see where he goes from here. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Please stay tuned for more episodes in the future. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to my channel.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed in the
Frank?